You know that feeling when you think you found the one?
Yeah, that was me.
Her name was Emily, and for 3 years, I thought we had the perfect love story. We met in college.
I was just a regular guy, ambitious, hard-working, maybe a little shy. She was the kind of girl who could walk into a room and make everyone turn their heads. I was nervous to ask her out, but when I finally did,
To my surprise, she said yes. For the first 2 years, everything was perfect.
we were that couple everyone envied.
Late night phone calls, surprise dates, inside jokes. She used to say, I don't care about money. As long as we have love, we have everything, and I believed her. But then, little things started changing. She started making small comments about money. Wouldn't it be nice to travel first class one day? Oh, I hate my old phone, but I guess I'll survive.
She started following rich influencers, talking about luxury brands. It was subtle, but it was there. I told myself, she's just dreaming. It's harmless, right? Then she started acting different. Always busy when I wanted to hang out. She dressed up more, but never told me where she was
Going. She laughed at texts, but hid her phone. I didn't want to seem insecure, so I ignored the gut feeling telling me something was wrong. Then one night,
She slipped up. We were watching a movie together when her phone lit up.
a name I didn't recognize. Jake. I asked, who's Jake? She hesitated.
Just for a second, but that second told me everything. Oh, just a guy from work, she said, trying to sound casual. I wanted to believe her.
But something inside me whispered, this is just the beginning. After that night, something felt off,
You ever get that gut feeling?
that something just isn't right,
That was me.
and I should have trusted it. Emily started cancelling plans more often.
Work is crazy right now, she'd say.
But I wasn't stupid.
Something was up. One night, I decided to test her.
I asked if she wanted to grab dinner.
She replied hours later. Sorry, super busy. Talk later. Okay,
No big deal, right? Except
later that night, a friend sent me a picture,
a picture that made my blood run cold. It was Emily,
dressed up, laughing.
sitting across from some guy at a fancy restaurant. She didn't even bother to hide it.
That's what hurt the most. The guy. Yeah, it was Jake.
The one from her texts.
The one with the money. I wanted to explode, to call her out right then and there. But instead, I waited. I needed to hear the lie straight from her mouth. The next day,
I acted normal, asked how her night was.
she smiled and said, Oh, just a quiet night in, watching Netflix. Wow. She didn't even blink when she lied. That was the moment I knew.
She wasn't mine anymore.
Maybe she never really was. But here's the thing about betrayal.
It doesn't break you, it wakes you up. And from that moment on,
I wasn't gonna be the fool anymore. After that night,
something in me changed.
I wasn't heartbroken.
I wasn't even angry.
I was just
Done. Emily thought she was playing me. Thought I was just some guy she could string along while she chased a bigger prize.
but I had other plans. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I started watching. Not in a creepy way, just noticing things I'd ignored before. Like how she only smiled when she talked about expensive things.
Or how she'd suddenly get defensive if I asked about her late nights at work. And then, one night, she gave herself away completely. She was texting someone, smiling at her phone like a lovesick teenager. Then she got up to take a call from work in the other room. But she forgot one thing. Her laptop was still open. I wasn't planning to snoop, but when I glanced at the screen, I saw a message pop up.
It was from Jake, and it said, Can't wait to see you this weekend, babe. Hope your boyfriend isn't getting suspicious. Babe, she called him babe. At that moment, something inside me snapped. Not in rage,
Not in sadness,
just
clarity. I was done being played.
but if she wanted to play games, fine.
I'd make sure she lost. And so,
The real game began. She thought she had me fooled. Thought she could keep me around while she played house with her rich boyfriend. But she underestimated me. I didn't yell. I didn't argue.
I didn't even let her know I had seen the message.
Instead,
I planned. First, I started pulling away. No more I love you texts.
no more surprise dates. No.
More surprise dates.
No more affection.
I wanted her to feel that shift.
And trust me, she noticed. One night, she asked, Is everything okay?
I just smiled and said, yeah, just busy with work. Funny how that excuse worked both ways. Then I started making mistakes, accidentally leaving my phone where she could see it, taking secret calls in the other room, dropping hints about someone new. I wanted her paranoid.
I wanted her to feel exactly what I felt.
And it worked. She started asking more questions, getting more clingy, calling me when I went out.
But I wasn't done yet. The real masterpiece.
That came next. I knew she was planning to break up with me soon, probably right before her big weekend with Jake.
So I flipped the script. The night before, I took her out to dinner.
Acted like the perfect boyfriend one. Last time.
She had no idea what was coming. Then, just as she thought everything was fine,
I looked her in the eyes and said, Emily, I think we should break up. The look on her face.
priceless. She wasn't ready for that. She stammered, tried to act confused. Wait, what?
Why? I just shrugged. I don't know. I just feel like we've grown apart. She panicked.
Started asking if she did something wrong. And that's when I dropped the final bomb. I leaned in, smiled, and said,
Don't worry.
I'm sure Jake will keep you company. And just like that, checkmate, for the first time ever. Emily was speechless. She blinked,
Opened her mouth.
closed it.
And then, like clockwork, came the excuses. Wait, I can explain.
It's not what you think. Oh, but it was exactly what I thought.
I just sat back, arms crossed, watching her scramble for a lie that would make it all go away. She tried everything.
Jake is just a friend.
I was gonna tell you.
It didn't mean anything.
Oh, so now it didn't mean anything.
Funny.
Because that's not what his text said. I let her ramble, let her dig her own grave.
And when she finally ran out of excuses, I just stood up, tossed some cash on the table, and said, We're done. Then I walked away. She didn't follow me at first. Maybe she was too stunned. Maybe she really thought I'd come crawling back. But 2 weeks later, that's when the texts started. I miss you, can we talk? Please. I made a mistake. I ignored them all. Until one day, she showed up at my door. And that's when I saw her for what she really was. Desperate. Because, you see, her little dream life with Jake, yeah.
It didn't go as planned. Turns out, she wasn't the only girl he was spoiling. And the moment she asked him to be serious, he dropped her like
a bad investment. Now suddenly, I was the love of her life again. She stood at my door, crying, saying she finally realized I was the one for her, that she made a huge mistake, that she just got caught up in the moment, and for a second, just a second, I almost felt bad for her. But then I remembered the nights I sat alone, wondering why I wasn't good enough, the times I questioned my own worth while she was out with someone else. So I took a deep breath,
looked her dead in the eyes,
and said the words she never expected to hear. Yeah.
I don't care. The look on her face.
Pure shock, like she expected me to take her back, just because she finally decided I was good enough. But that's the thing about respect.
Once you lose it,
you don't get it back. She stammered, tried to backtrack.
Wait, please just hear me out.
I didn't yell. I didn't argue.
I just smiled and said, Emily, I did hear you.
I heard you loud and clear when you left me for someone richer.
And now, I'm just returning the favor. I shut the door in her face. No drama.
No second chances. Just closure. And let me tell you, that moment, that was real power. Because the best revenge, it's not getting even.
It's moving on and being happier than ever.
And trust me, I did just that. I focused on myself, hit the gym, leveled up in my career, surrounded myself with real friends.
And eventually, I met someone new. Someone who actually saw my worth, who didn't need money or status to be happy, who chose me.
Not what I could offer. And as for Emily,
well,
let's just say karma did its thing. A few months later, I heard through the grapevine Jake moved on to his next investment. And Emily, she was stuck, broke, and alone. She tried reaching out again, even sent me a "Hey, how have you been?"
text like nothing happened. I left it on read, because at the end of the day,
some doors,
they're better left closed. Lesson learned?
Never settle for someone who only sees your worth when it's too late.